Hi, my name is Will, and this is our Master of Metrics, Peter.
Hello.
We'll be talking about Google Analytics for beginners. So, Peter, tell us what Google Analytics is and where it fits in. Let's go through some screens and maybe you can show us what to watch for.
Sure. So Google Analytics is how you can read who is actually visiting your site. It's one of the most important tools for gauging what should I do to my site? Is any of my marketing working on my site? So yeah, let's open it up and actually take a look at what some of this means, because first-time users, when you go into here, it's just a whole wall of numbers. So we want to try and break this down as simply as possible and just the key areas that you need as a beginner.
Okay, so after you've installed it, you go to analytics.google.com. And this is the dashboard. So walk us through it.
Perfect. So right now I'm actually under Audience and Overview, and this is where I usually like to start. So first thing, we just get a quick view of who's visiting my site. And as I hover over, I can see, hey, I got about 84 people here visited, 76 people here visited. But what does that actually mean for who visited?
So one thing to note, when you log in, your default screen sometimes is going to be the real-time dashboard overview or this one. So just a quick walkthrough before then. On the left-hand side, you're going to see real-time, which gives you real-time metrics. The next one is audience. The one below that is going to be acquisition, which shows you where people are actually coming from. Behavior is what they're doing when they come to the site. What content are they looking at? And then conversions. So going back to audience.
So over here we have all of our individual stats that gives us insight into who's visiting our site. So first off, users, these are all the unique people coming to your website. So here we have 1,902 people came to our website over the course of about 30 days.
So we have the last 30 days enabled, so you can see when we're publishing it, it's the last 30 days. So users, what's new users then?
So new users is taking a segment out of this users and seeing which one of these users have never been to the site before, at least according to Google. So they're trying to track these people and they can tell they've never been to the site, so new people coming to the site.
So you want people coming back to your site. So if you have a store, for example, or you're offering a product, when people come back, you can see they're actually more interested in your product or services. If they come back 3 or 4 times, it's not always that they buy or commit on the very first visit. Sometimes they come back, they navigate away and come back again. So that's how you can tell new visitors versus existing people who've seen your site before.
Exactly, and you also have a nice little pie chart here of that same metric. So the new visitors versus your returning visitors.
Perfect. Okay, what sessions?
So sessions is made up of how many times does the same user, so out of those returning visitors, how many times did they come back to the site? So here we can see how many total sessions, but the number next to it is actually a little more insightful. So it tells us that on average, those people come back 1.39 times. So usually around 2 times they will come back to the site.
Exactly. So each person comes back almost 1.4 times to the site. So it gives us an indication that they are actually interested. They're coming back. For different kinds of services or different kinds of products, this may be even higher. For a blog, for example, if you're expecting people to change every single day, or if you're expecting content to change every single day, you'll want this to be many more times.
And then just going down, from those sessions, we get to see how many different individual pages those users actually visited. So we could see a very large number of almost 7,000 page views, but the more insightful is out of those people, each person visited about 2.6 pages.
So that means when they come to the site, they don't just go to the homepage. They typically go, in our case, or they'll go to the About page. They want to find out about our agency, or they want to find out about our services, or go directly into the contact page. So their user journey, and we'll see that in behavior in a second. But we want to make sure that if we're expecting them to view multiple pages, they are.
So yeah, you always want that number to try and get higher, around the 3s. And then finally, well, now that they're visiting the site and navigating around, how long are they actually spending? So the average duration any one user is spending on the site. So here we see about 2 minutes and 14 seconds.
Perfect. So that's how long they're staying. If we expect to have content that they're going to spend more time reading or perusing or whatever, or interacting with, we could see that go up or down. For transactional, really quick interactions, like a Reddit post, for example, I'll check back, so that may even be shorter.
And then finally, my favorite and most important number for making a lot of these decisions for changes to website is the bounce rate.
So the bounce rate?
The bounce rate is when someone comes to your site and then leaves. So if they don't actually navigate around, they don't click anything, they don't interact with anything, that's considered a bounce. So you want this percentage to be as low as possible. You want the lowest amount of bounces away from your site.
So this is worth having an entirely separate thing, which we'll cover in another video. Bounce rate is an indication of how interactive people are. So this, for right now, we can actually say, okay, maybe there's an issue on mobile, or maybe there's an issue on tablet view or desktop view. So when we go into one of the other tablets, we can see, we'll show you where the bounce rate breaks down.
Exactly. So now that we know sort of what all these numbers are, we're going to see them over and over as we break down all of this different data. So there is a huge amount of different areas that you can explore. We're just going to go through a couple of them that we feel is very interesting and great to look at. So one such area is demographics.
So you can get an overview of who's there, how old they are, what age range, are they male, are they female, so you can see age, gender.
So we can see the majority of our audience is between the ages 25 to 35. And the majority is male, but only by about 9% more.
Perfect. Let's go to interests. That one's super interesting.
So interests is Google actually categorizing what those users are interested in based on their browsing history. So we can see much of our market are shoppers and also interested in technology.
So right now we're doing a huge recruitment drive. So we're looking for people who are developers. So this is not surprising, or this is actually encouraging to see that people who are into technology are applying for a technology job.
So note the affinity category is usually categories that are outside of what we listed as our main category. In-market segments are areas that are in our market, which is defined in Google's settings. We won't get to that in here, but just note these are categories that are in our market that Google's showing people are more interested in employment in our market segment.
Which again, if we're doing a recruitment drive, we want to see employment. When we're doing a drive for a specific service or a specific product, we'd want to see something else.
So next area that I like to always go to is actually mobile. So we're just going to go to the overview of mobile here, and this lets us know how many of our users are on mobile devices, and as we'll allude to earlier, is our mobile site working or are people bouncing away? So looking here between desktop, mobile, and tablet, we can see the majority of our audience is on a desktop computer. And let's see, the desktop computer also has the lower of the bounce rates. Mobile does have a little bit of a higher bounce rate. So this is an indicator that we might go and look at the site's mobile and do some optimization to see if we can change that bounce rate on a mobile device.
Have some sort of interaction, some sort of call to action, something that gets them to navigate around the site, for example. So we can see maybe the menu isn't as intuitive as it should be, or maybe isn't as visible as it should be.
So yeah, definitely good to look at this data to make those decisions on your website.
Perfect. So devices, let's go into acquisition, because I think that one's extremely useful.
So acquisition can break down your data by where are people coming from.
So where are we acquiring users from is where that term comes from.
Exactly. So very important, especially if you're running a lot of campaigns, such as your Facebook campaigns, or you've hired another company to do ads, or you've purchased a link on another blog. Are you actually getting clicks from there?
So just a really brief overview, because I think there's actually a more useful tab here. So we'll take a look at all traffic, AdWords, Search Console, social, and campaigns. But I think under all traffic and channels gives us really the most useful top level view.
So we can see organic search. This is anything coming from Google mainly, or Yahoo, Bing, or the other search engines. Direct is usually people typing your URL directly in, or sometimes apps. If you have a link on a mobile app, sometimes those get listed as direct. It all depends. But direct is bookmarks and other instant click links. Referrals is links from other people's websites. So they're literally referring you from their site to your site.
For sure. So if right now we're doing a recruitment drive, we've posted our jobs in a couple different places. One of them will be Indeed. So if we clicked on referral, you'll actually see, or we hope to see, one of those referral sources.
So we can break it down.
Canyon.
For us, it's Castanet was where we posted a lot of our jobs, so we know they're the highest one. Boom is where we submit a lot of our graphic design work, so we know that that's working. Code Canyon, where we sell a lot of our plugins and products, so we know that those referrals definitely are working.
For sure. And some of the other ones are just our client sites. So whenever you see something in the footer that reads this website was designed by this, sometimes it's actually a really good referral source for us for business.
So just back to the all traffic channels, we can also see how much our social is working. So if we go into there, we can see what is our strongest social media channels. So here we can see Facebook is the strongest, followed by Instagram. So this means that our campaigns on Facebook are working, but once again, check back in all that data, see your bounce rate, see your page sessions. Are the people coming to your site valuable?
Absolutely. So let's jump over to behavior. I don't want this video to go on forever. So behavior, this is where you actually see what people are doing on the site. So sometimes there's an opportunity to improve user flow or improve the layout to actually get better functionality. So behavior flow, this is where you can actually see how people traverse your site, how they actually get through your site. So if they land on the home page, what's the next page? Are there drop-offs?
Yeah, so this is probably one of my favorite pages because it really ties into that whole bounce rate, where bounce rate is their initial, once they visit your homepage, do they leave? But then what about afterwards? I want to see where we are losing users, where they're dropping off. So from behavior and under behavior flow, we can see where they start. So a lot of our links going to the website, or even if people are just typing it in, they all go to the home page. That's what that slash is just the root of the website.
It's called the root.
So I'm going to just click on this and go highlight traffic through here. And now I can see where they're going as well as the drop off. So as I hover over, we see this little red drop off here, literally. So that's about 47% of the people that come to the homepage drop off.
So that to me is an indication that they may not be finding the right kind of information, or the message that we're looking at may not quite be the right message. So potentially an opportunity for improvement.
Exactly. But then those that stay on the site, they travel to the services page, which actually has a very low drop off. So we know that the services page is a very good page for people to traverse through.
Perfect.
And same with company page, people are actually going through. There's very little drop off. So this is what you want to see, is as little drop off as possible between your pages. The only page that can understandably have some drop off is your contact page, because they should be getting into contact with you right before leaving the site.
Absolutely. So the next page is, or the next section is site content. So imagine having 20 services or 30 products. Figure out which product is most in demand. You can actually see what people are navigating to most, which one they're interacting with most. Those are the ones that you may want to present on a landing page, specifically for maybe an ad campaign, or maybe on the homepage, because that's maybe those are the products that people are coming in for most.
So you can see here from our homepage, which is the most visited, but mainly because we're probably sending the most traffic there. But then our services page here, and then we can also, I'm checking the bounce rate, so we can see the bounce rate for company is nice and low. That's where we might do a campaign that just pushes people to the company page, because we know that it's a good page that people are actually not leaving from. They're looking around and they're navigating around the site off of that page.
For sure. So we have a whole bunch of different pages. You can see that we have 326 in the very bottom here. So there's a lot of content. So we just want to see what's actually being tracked, or what's being looked at, what's not being looked at. We can look at different timelines too. So let's get into, there's site speed. Let's just go through kind of the sections here. Site speed. So which pages, or if the website is fast enough, are there loading issues? Because that's actually a really important signal if someone's frustrated coming to your site. Next one is site search, so people actually looking through your site. Events, so we can actually set up specific events or event pages or event flow, so we can see, we can trigger events across the site.
So yeah, this is getting into a lot of the little complicated bits of analytics.
Don't worry, we'll cover it.
Exactly.
Just not today.
Exactly. So all of this, strongly suggest take a little quick exploration through it. Ask your developer to make sure that all this kind of stuff is on in your settings so that you can see this data and make some of these informed decisions about it.
If you want to see anything specific, comment down below. Let us know which one you actually would find most interesting.
And one that we're going to give a whole episode to in another video will be conversions. This is where you are actually giving value to some interaction on your website, whether it's someone filled out a contact form. If that is a conversion to you, then have your devs set it up as such so that it gets tracked in here and you know that, hey, people that went through this flow ended up converting. This data is very valuable because it also later on will come in use for things such as Google AdWords, as Google can use that model to figure out what are the other kinds of users that are more likely to convert. So you want to collect as much of this conversion data.
For sure. So that conversion data will look different for a service company than for an e-commerce company or a product company. So you can actually track, if we put people into a web design, we have an average value for that interaction, or a marketing equation, or a strategy equation. So this gives us a really good idea, or can give us a really good idea, of how much each of those clients is potentially worth. So this is really Google Analytics. There's so much more that you can delve into. There's so much more that you can explore and correlate. What we'd love for you guys to do is just comment down below. Let us know what specific things you're looking for, what information you would find useful, what things you want us to cover more in depth. We'd be happy to do it. But that's really Google Analytics in a nutshell. Absolutely. So reach out. If you want to see more, hit the subscribe button, follow us, look us up on Facebook. If you haven't deleted your profile already. So thanks very much for joining us. My name is Will.
I'm Peter.
And we're Hiilite.